guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this for the first time, please click the subscribe button. I'd love for you to be a part of the channel. What can you lose? Anyway, today I want to talk about the Rudy Farias case. I believe I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, and I do apologize. Um, and I'm sure you all have heard it. It's about the young man that was missing at he went missing at 17 back in 2015, I believe. And they just he was found, and he was found in front of a church. And they said the reason that they knew that it was him is because he had a little card in his wallet that said, "If I'm lost, please contact," and he had the contact information. And then he also had a credit card of his mom's, but we'll get to that later. So anyway, they end up contacting his mom, and he went back home. And I think this week is when they finally brought him in for questioning. They wanted to figure out where he's been for 8 years and what he's been doing. And so they contacted. I guess he didn't feel comfortable with just speaking with the police officers. But let me take you back even further than that. His dad was a police officer, so his mom has a lot of connections. I guess she knows a lot of the police officers from what they say in the department. And so, because the dad worked there, and the dad was, I guess, let go because he had written tickets illegally and something to that effect. I don't want to quote it because I don't want to, misquote anything. So anyway, fast forward to him being questioned by the police officers. So he didn't want to be questioned by the police officers, so he asked for Quanell X to come in to interview, I guess, him because he felt comfortable with him. And so Quanell interviewed him with a police officer in the room with him. And he originally just wanted to speak with Quanell. And Quanell said, well, can the police officers, at least one, stay in the room? And he agreed to that. So upon giving his statement, he then told Quanell, the information of where he's been. He said that he's been in the house with his mom the whole time. Now, my question is when he was reported missing, why didn't they go in and just do a search of the mom's property? Just to say, maybe he's in the room somewhere or in one of the rooms, why don't we look around here first and then we'll go out and try to find him. That's my take. I'm not a detective, not a police officer, but that would be my take. So anyway, they then I guess they had gone back to the house several times. And I'm like, so where was this young man all this time when the police officers would come? So I'm thinking they also said that the mom had given him special medications to take and kept him, taking these medications for quite a while. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe he was probably sleeping when the police came, and then that was the reason that he wasn't making any noise or saying, help or whatever. I'm not for sure. It's all speculation. So he then goes to the police station, and I guess he's questioned there with Quanell. And so then we see a news conference where he is covered in a blanket and his whole face is covered. And he's walking to Quanell's car because he loves cars, from what was told. And so then he goes back in to the hotel, and they're trying to, I guess, keep him and his mother apart. By that time, we see the mom who was standing on the opposite side. And so she's standing there, and I guess apparently he was hungry, so they were going to get him something to eat. And so they take him into this room, and the mom wants to go in there. And I think that she was stopped because, they were like, if you're hungry, it's food, basically, but she was standing off to the side. And they said that he felt very uncomfortable with speaking in front of his mother or telling anything. And when she was around, that he would grab her leg. Well, that takes me back to um, shouldn't young adults or children, um, when they're being abused or they're kidnapped, should always speak to just the detectives alone. But, I shouldn't say that, because I think that as a parent, if my child was missing, I would want to be right there to see what happened. And I'm sure that sometimes they wouldn't probably want to say anything of what the trauma that they've been through if it was, um, you know, in front of their mom. They probably wouldn't want their mom to, hear what was going on. So I get it. I get it. So anyway, he spilled out a lot of information about where he had gone, what he had gone through, and where he was. So he then tells Quanell that his mom has kept him in the home for 8 years. He wasn't allowed to, um, I guess, go outside or anything. He was given this special medication, um, and was made to um, share a room with his mom. And he felt very uncomfortable about it. But fast forward, the neighbors that lived down the street from him said, "Oh, he is here. We see him all the time, and he's not missing. Um, and he hangs out with our daughters. He hangs out in the garage with our daughters." And they were adamant about that. They said that he wasn't missing, that he was able to go and come as he pleases. So my question was, and now he's 25. And so, of course, I think that we're all wondering, well, then why didn't you say something to the neighbor if this was going on? Why didn't you say to them, I, my mom has me here and I'm not feeling comfortable about it and I need help? You know, that's one question. And then another question is, another, not question, but another statement says, well, you know what? When people are traumatized, they tend to um, handle things a lot differently. We can all say what we would do if we were kidnapped or taken hostage for a certain amount of years. We would all say, I would just run and say, I've been kidnapped, or whatever the case may be. And that we don't do, because you never know what you're going to do. So he was traumatized, and what a sad case by your own mother. You were traumatized. So he then goes to well, not goes, but he then goes on, I should say, to say that um, he finally escaped because he was tired of the living situation that he was in, and that he wanted to just be free. He wanted to actually live his life. He had lived a life with his mom, under the assumption that he was kidnapped. There was a GoFundMe page set up, and she collected money off the GoFundMe page. And I don't. I'm glad that Quanell told us, the information about what had happened, and made us aware, of what his situation was. during all of this. So now, after all of this has been exposed, and he's been found, and all of this information has come out, the aunt and I guess the sister of Jamie is the mother's name, came out and said, that she's always been a liar, she's always been manipulative, and so on. And so I'm saying, okay, the Jamie's mom lived with her, and there was some speculation that the mother might have been abused, um, when she was in Jamie's care, because Jamie was taking care of her. They said that she looked disheveled all the time. When the sister would go and visit, Jamie would take a long time opening up the door, like 20 minutes, just a long time. And so the mom had, she always looked disheveled and malnourished, is what the sister said. So then I go back to that. Okay, did you see your nephew there, or did she always have your nephew put in a different room? One. Two, if you felt like your mom was not being taken care of properly and she always looked like that, why would you leave your mom in her care? Because there's no way in hell, excuse my language, that I would leave my mom or my dad in a sibling's care if they look disheveled or malnourished. At that point, they're coming with me, and that's it, because I'm their daughter, and as well as the sibling. So I would have, again, I think that there's no question about what I would have done at that point. I would have removed my mom if I felt she was being mistreated in any kind of way. So they chose to leave the mom for some reason. So, my thing is that now that everything is coming out, the family wants to come forward. Now, in the beginning, I believe that they said that there was a rumor that the Rudy he had been cited. There was sightings, excuse me, of him sleeping in family members' yards, and that the police were called. But when the police got there, he would be gone. So I'm like, okay, that's a little confusing to me. And so my little detective mind gets to working, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's a lot of questions to this story, and some that just don't make sense to me, and a lot of information I'm sure that's going to come out, and we'll all be on top of it. I'm dying to know the details and what becomes of this case. So fast forward to today. They then say that there are no charges, that they couldn't bring any charges to the mother because there wasn't enough evidence. And so I'm thinking, is there a cover up inside of the Houston PD? Because the mom is well known there, because her husband was a police officer, and maybe she has a lot of connections there. It's the reason why they're saying that there wasn't enough evidence. Can they charge her on giving her child the special medication? Can they charge her with the GoFundMe page that was set up and she used that money for her own um, well being? What can she be charged on? I mean, I'm sure that they could find something that she could be charged on, because she, took money from people, and she spent that money, and it was a GoFundMe page to find her son, when all along her son was living there. Now, this is just my opinion, and I'm going to go out there on a limb. It's just my opinion. Don't get upset, because you always want to think there's always two sides to a story. So, scenario here. What if the son, what if, it's a totally different situation, and maybe he was in on it, and you know, um, you know, what if? What if this is all a made up story and they were both in cahoots together? I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say, that this young man that was taken advantage of or harmed, I don't want to add salt to that wound. I don't want to do that, and I'm not judging him. But it's just a strange case. And I think that we are all asking the same questions. What is going on here? Is it, um, a plot together? You know? Um, so, I'm interested to know, once he gets his self together, and hopefully, he'll go through therapy. He's going to need a lot of therapy for what he's gone through. And I just want, the mom to be held accountable if there's a crime committed. If you've done this crime, you need to be held accountable. I now know they now are saying that Rudy is in a safe place, and the mom was spotted moving some of her belongings out of the house that she was in, but she was also spotted in where I guess where Rudy was being held and protected in his safe place. Her car was spotted close to where her son was. So, I'm interested to know. I mean, he's 25, and so he is of legal age. And I hope that he can get the help that he needs. And I hope that, she's brought to justice for what she's done. And I hope that the Houston Police Department, is not showing any favoritism towards her whatsoever. I think that they need to, instead of being so quick not to charge. I mean, can we investigate this a little bit more? She's evidence is probably hidden because they didn't take Rudy and they didn't question him right away. They waited a week, from what it's being told, before even questioning him. So it's like, has evidence been destroyed? Has does she try to cover this up in any sort of way? I know that it was said that when she went into the room after he was interviewed, that she said she went in there, and this is allegedly, and told him, "You tell them that you're making this up," you know, so that she wouldn't get in trouble. So I'm interested to see what charges are going to be brought against her, and I would hope that we do. I mean, there are great police officers out there. And I would just hope that someone in the police department would come forward and say, you know, this is what we need to do. We need to look into this further. We can't continue to let parents get away with taking advantage of children in whatever way that might be. We cannot continue to let them get away with that. They need to be held accountable. And if we keep dropping the ball, what is going to become of our children? So let me know. I'm just kind of interested in what you all think and what punishment you all would deem fit for this lady, or charges for that matter. If she should be charged, or maybe she shouldn't be charged. I don't know. I just think that, you don't drop the ball and just say, oh, well, you know, we didn't find any evidence, so we're going to, just call it a day. Um, when they should have, in my opinion, um, took him in, you know, or to a secluded place, first, and had him held there for, maybe a couple of days, away from, anybody, so that his, and I think that that's what they should do with victims, is just, take them to a course of the hospital to get checked out, and then maybe to a psychiatrist or a therapist that they can speak with, and maybe get, some insight on what happened. I know that they're traumatized and you don't always want to, question them right then because they've been so traumatized and now they're coming out of this situation. But sometimes, the information is still fresh. And I think that, he should have been questioned um, when he was found, or not, if not, then a couple of days after. And maybe, at that point, they could have then searched the mom's house and there would have been evidence of what he is saying took place. So I don't know. Let me know what you all think about this. And I will be keeping a close eye on this case because I would love to know what becomes of this case, if anything. And I would love to just wrap my arms around the young man and just give him a big hug, um, and just let him know, I'm sorry that your mom did that to you, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. So let's keep Rudy in prayers that he will. I know that he will, with God's help. He will get past it. But let's just all keep him in prayer. And the mother as well. Keep her in prayer. Keep the family in prayer. But most definitely keep Rudy in prayer. Thank you all for watching my channel. I hope that you do find this video interesting and that you click on subscribe, not click, but subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you, and we can share some more um, awesome cases, I should say, or cases that make us aware of things that are going on around us. So thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, and thank you. Bye.